you weren't here yesterday, some of y'all are doing the writing first, which is great. Make sure you write the whole page, turn that in. Again, if you weren't here yesterday, there was a writing assignment. You can get that out of the blue bin. And yeah. So second thing, last week's warm-ups, we turned those in. So if you weren't here yesterday, but you have last week's warm-ups, you just put no school Thursday, Friday, and turn that in. That's good. Now, I think everyone should have been able to draw this triangle, right? And when you draw it, you got to put that right angle and that little symbol. Now, I don't know if y'all have ever seen this symbol before, and we're going to go over it on the notes. So this is called theta. Okay? Theta. Theta, theta. Okay? Now, from that angle, theta, I wanted you to label O, H, and A. O stands for opposite. Okay? So when I think of opposite, I'm thinking of drawing through the middle of the triangle. Okay, so check it out. From here through here, did everyone put an O there? You can get a new note sheet, one more sheet. So everyone was able to put O across from the theta. Okay. Now H. We just did right triangles. We're continuing to do right triangles. Okay. But what's the name of that H side across from 90? Y'all remember what it's called? Hypotenuse. So the H is always going to be across from 90, okay? So if it helps you, you can draw an arrow from 90 across. That's your H. And then your leftover is A. Now, here's the word, adjacent. Adjacent just means next to something, right? I'm adjacent to the wall. Okay, adjacent is next door. So what's right next to theta? The last side that's not labeled. Put an A there, okay? O, H, and A. Now, I promise you on what we're doing today, you're going to have to do that a lot. So get used to this, okay? From starting somewhere, label O, label H, label A. If you can do that, that's half the battle. Okay, so that's it for the warm-up. You'll notice in the objective that you wrote down, okay, here's a fancy word, trigonometric ratios, okay? Today we are starting trigonometry. What do y'all think about that? Does that sound easy or hard or whatever? All right. Well, we are doing trigonometry. I think back in the day, this used to be its own subject, but we're doing it as like a little unit, okay? All right, trigonometry. I did promise that we have some fun, or maybe I didn't with this class, but we do have some fun songs. I know y'all like all the fun songs that I play, okay, for trigonometry, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow because today's shorter because it's a Tuesday. This is brand new information. Because it's so brand new, I need everyone focusing. So if you got a phone in your hand, okay, your headphones in your ears. I don't want headphones in any ears because I need y'all to get this the first time, okay? There's not enough time for me to reteach it to every single person every single day. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get everyone focused, that'd be great. So everyone has this sheet. Cool. Now, at the very top, I just told you what this is called. It's called theta. You can fill in that box, okay? Whenever you see that, it's a Greek letter, okay? So, you know, we have an English alphabet, or the other languages have their own alphabet. This is a Greek letter. Do y'all know any other Greek letters? If you've heard of pi, which is actually supposed to be pronounced P, but whatever, it's pi, that's a Greek letter, okay? And if you've ever seen college sororities or fraternities, they're Greek letters, alpha, omega, omicron. Okay, these are all Greek letters, right? So anyways, theta is just another letter. Now, here's the deal. For trigonometric ratios, we know, hopefully, like we just said in the warm-up, that the hypotenuse is across from the 90. So let's write that down, okay? So for the hypotenuse vocabulary, okay, I'm going to say it's opposite the 90 degrees, the right angle. So it's opposite from the right angle. Okay, the adjacent side, we said adjacent means next to, so it's next to the theta. Now, when you draw the theta, it's like a 0 with a little curve in the inside, okay? And the opposite is opposite the theta, okay? So those are our three sides. We did it on the warm-up, we labeled stuff, and we're going to keep doing that, but now you have the vocab for it. Now, if you look at that box on the left in the middle there, it says trigonometric ratios. Do y'all know what another name for a ratio is? If you take two numbers, put them on top of each other with a little bar, that's a ratio, otherwise known as like a fraction, right? Y'all seen fractions before? Parts of wholes, okay? So our trigonometry is mainly just ratios, putting two numbers into a fraction, which is not that bad, right? Last period, at least, they were saying, that sounds hard, Mr. G, trigonometry, what the heck? But I'm telling you, it's pretty much just fractions, okay? Now, what are the fractions? First of all, we need to know these names. So is everyone looking right here? Not at your phone, not anything else, right? Check it out. S-I-N-E, okay, this is sine, okay? Not like I'm holding a sign or peace sign, okay? But this is S-I-N-E, you pronounce it sine, okay? Now, the next one, cosine, okay? If you ever get an apartment, maybe someone will cosine on it, but it's not talking about signing your signature. Okay, this is cosine. It's a ratio. And then tangent, okay, is another ratio. Tangent. Cool. Did you finish the test? Thank you. All right. Now, each of those is going to be a ratio. It's going to be a fraction. Cool. Now, sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and write that out. You can abbreviate as long as you know what they stand for, but I'm going to write it out, okay? There we go. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. Bless you. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So those are your three fractions that you get for your trigonometry. Did you finish? Thank you very much. Can you add your second last name that you have to? Okay. Just like right above. Okay, so everyone's written that down? Now, if you were to abbreviate it, you could say sine is O over H. Cosine is A over H. And tangent is O over A. Now, you all like to hear about drama? Who likes drama? Right? Some TMZ stuff. Not really. But, so this lesson on this topic, not this exact lesson, okay? But there was a teacher in California who was teaching this lesson, and they got exposed by a student with their camera because they were saying something they shouldn't have said. And then I don't know if they got fired or just put on leave, okay? Now, ready? Here's the controversy. Juicy. Not really. So, if you take these three letters, S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A, it makes this little phrase. SOHCAHTOA. okay? Now, this teacher made up a story about SOHCAHTOA. It's fake, whatever. And she dressed up as a Native American and was kind of maybe being a little bit of offensive, saying things she shouldn't have said, whatever. And she got let go. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to try to keep my job, you know, because I know y'all love me. Y'all are my favorite third period class ever this year. All right, well, anyways, SOHCAHTOA, okay, without anything crazy. Actually, the only thing I would say is it sounds like someone's like charging up like a Kamehameha, like SOHCAHTOA. Okay, that's the only thing I'm going to say. But SOHCAHTOA is one way to remember these fractions, okay? SOHCAHTOA, okay? Now, actually, one more thing, okay? I like to tell this every year, okay? Some of y'all maybe met Miss Marrero, maybe you didn't, okay? But this is a true story about Mrs. Marrero, okay? Mrs. Marrero was my co-teacher, okay? Great lady. And she, 2 or 3 years ago, she was in her driveway walking, and she stepped on a pecan. And she tripped and slipped, and she fell, and she hurt her foot. And she literally was, you know, you've seen those little foot scooters people scoot around on? Okay, she was scooting around the campus, right? So, now, I modified the story. I think she actually hurt her foot or her ankle, but I say it was her toe. Okay, let's say Miss Marrero stubbed her toe. Ouch, that hurt really bad, right? Sometimes when you have a bad stubbed toe, all you got to do is just, you know, ice it or maybe even soak it in some water, you know, some cold water, maybe with some Epsom salt, you know. So if you can just imagine, ouch, I hurt my toe, I need to soak my toe. SOHCAHTOA. All right? Whatever helps you remember SOHCAHTOA, because you got to know SOHCAHTOA to help you do trigonometry. Because everyone heard me say it, SOHCAHTOA. Here we go. We're going to do an example off to the right here. Okay? Now, do y'all remember the warm-up we just did where you labeled O, H, and A? Opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. That's what we're going to do right here. Now, look at this. Now, notice this. These are the abbreviations. Do y'all see it says SIN? Okay? If you say sin, I know what you mean, but you say sine. Okay? Because we don't sin in my class. Okay? If you see COS, I know it looks like it says cos, but it really is cosine, okay? Because we don't cos in my class. And if you see tan, it's really tangent, because we don't tan in my class. Keep your clothes on. All right, thank you. Now, check it out. Sine, cosine, and tangent of P. Now, all of these are P, P, P. Cool? So here's the deal. Everybody, I want you to put a little arc. Put an arc at P. I want you to do what we did on the warm-up. Can you label the opposite side with an O? Can you label the hypotenuse side with an H? And label the last one with an A? So I want you to label O, H, and A. So what do you think is the O? Which number is the O side? Okay, but we're starting at P. Okay, so if you're starting at P, I like to draw an arrow through the middle. Starting at P, I'm going to go 16 is my O. So put an O there. Okay. Now, H is always across from 90. So everyone find 90. I like to draw an arrow through the middle. That'll be my H side. And the leftover is A. O-H, A. You got to be good at OHA because that'll help you get the right ratios, fractions, okay? Now, we see sine, S-I-N, sine, okay? Sine of P. What's sine going to be? What over what? It's opposite over hypotenuse. It's right next to it. Check it out. Actually, perfect, almost. There we go. Yeah, so sine, I have it right here, O over H. So what is O? And then H is 20. So for sine, it's going to be 16 over 20, because that's O over H. So let's go ahead and write that. don't take up all the room because 16 over 20 might reduce. Now, let's say I don't know how to reduce mentally. You don't need to. 16 over 20, if you just type it in the calculator, I get 4 over 5. Okay. So this type of problem, all you're doing is giving me fractions. And the trig tells you what the fraction is. Okay. Now, let's do cosine P. Cosine is what over what? So ca. C is A over H. Sorry, I said that twice. I said ca twice. Anyways, cosine is A over H. So what's A? 12, and then H, 20. So 12 over 20. That's it. Okay? If they're asking you for the ratio, the only thing you might have to do is reduce it. 12 over 20. Does anyone know what that reduces to? Okay. 3 over 4, 3 over 5, my bad. So they're both divisible by 4, and you get 3 over 5. Cool. Now tangent, again, tangent is SOHCAHTOA, T for tan, TOA is O over A. O over A is 16 over 12. Y'all agree? O over A, 16 over 12. And then reducing that, they're both divisible by 4. I should get 4 over 3. All right? Not too bad. Now, if you look at the next column next to it, okay, what's different about these on the right and these on the left? What? Okay, different letters. So sine P is now sine Q. So instead of P, now we have Q. So here's the deal. Sometimes they change the angle. They change the starting point. And hear me say this. If they change the letter, you're going to have to change your OHA. You have to relabel it. Okay? So I'm going to do this in a different color. Okay? Let's say we're going to do the Q's now. Okay? Now, I'm going to put an arc at Q. What I'm going to do is relabel OH and A. It's going to change. Okay? If you're on a phone, focus, everybody. So, OH and A. Starting at Q, what's across from Q? What's opposite of Q? 12. So I'm going to cross out that A. Now it's O. It's changed because I changed where I started from. Okay. Now what about H? The hypotenuse actually never changes. It's always across from 90. H stays the same. Okay. I can rewrite it if I want to. Okay. Now my leftover A is going to be 16. So let me make this simple. If they change the letter angle, they're going to change O and A. Switcheroo, okay? Now that I'm starting at Q, let's do sine of Q. Sine is so O over H is going to be what over what? What do y'all think? Sine for Q. O over H is what over what? $12 over 20, and then that reduces when you divide them by 4 to 3 over 5. Okay, what about cosine? Ca, A over H. 16 over 20, which reduces to 4 over 5. And last but not least, tangent of Q. Tan Q is TOA, O over A, which is what over what? $12 over 16, which reduces to 3 over 4. Now, very important. Okay. Make sure you're labeling OH and A correctly from the angle letter that they give you. Okay. Now, these next 6 are the same idea, but be careful. numbers 1, 2, and 3 are A, and then numbers 4, 5, and 6 are C, okay? So this is the division. 1, 2, and 3 have to do with angle A. 4, 5, and 6 have to do with angle C, okay? I'm going to let you, and I'm going to come around and check. I want you to do what we just did on this new triangle. Label OH and A, write the trig ratios, okay? I'm going to come around and check. Sine, this was OH and A, starting at A. So OH was 15 over 17. It does not reduce. Cosine is A over H, 8 over 17. That does not reduce. Tan is O over A, 15 over 8. That does not reduce. When you did C, you had to cross out O and A and relabel it. So your new O is 8, your A is 15. Sine is O over H, 8 over 17. Cosine is A over H, 15 over 17. And then tangent of C is O over A, 8 over 15. Okay. Now, tomorrow we'll go over how to type it in the calculator, and we'll go from there. All right?